Yes.
Yes. Okay, welcome to another exciting episode of Group Chat After Dark. Are you excited, Michael?
I'm so excited.
I can tell just by the look on your face how excited you are. Look at the excitement. If you're not watching the podcast, let me describe it.
You should be watching.
He's amazingly excited. This week month on Group Chat After Dark, we're going to be talking about the month of November in Group Chat, but it would be remiss to mention that November has been a big month in a year unlike any other in my lifetime. How about yours, Michael?
Yeah, it's been about like every other month in 2020.
I just mean the year 2020 in your lifetime. Have you ever had a year like this?
No.
Yeah, I haven't either. It's crazy.
It's hard.
It's very hard. And we're making it through. We're getting close. Like, we're almost done with this year. I just hope that the next year is better. But speaking of quite a year, it's been quite a year for your feet, hasn't it?
Yes, and with the holidays coming up, everybody needs a nice stocking stuffer. Why not stuff your stocking with some stockings from Bombas, the number one selling product in the history of Shark Tank. If you buy one pair of Bombas, they will then donate a pair of Bombas to homeless shelters, because that's the number one most requested item in homeless shelters across the United States.
I gotta say, this is episode 6, so we've been doing this show for 6 months now. That is probably your best ad read ever.
You know, I like to think that you get better with practice.
I think so, especially because we're not actually sponsored by Bombas, so these fake ads that we've been doing, like that one right there, being timed in with like Christmas, that was really good. So I gotta say, I'm gonna have to send this one specifically to Bombas and be like, you should actually sponsor this podcast.
They should. They should sponsor us. And we're international, so for our French users, that would be Les Stockings.
I forgot to tell you. I just happened to look at the stats yesterday. This month, we've had a listener in Brazil.
Ah, Portuguese.
So, I don't know how you say stockings there, but
I don't either.
Don't do it because it might be offensive. So anyway, now that we got the ad read out of the way, we're going to jump right in. Basically, the content of this episode is coming from our real life group chat. These are all things.
The inspiration for the podcast.
Yes, the inspiration for the podcast is the inspiration for this month's content. All of these things have been discussed in our actual group chat that this podcast is its namesake.
Most opinions are trash.
Most opinions are trash. Obviously, we're going to be avoiding political goings on, and that's a huge thing for the month of November. We're going to just skip over that because it's, it is what it is. But we'll jump right into obviously the biggest thing of the year is the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've been talking about the pandemic, pretty much all year. And right now, we are, like other countries have had like their big spike, and then it levels off and they've dropped off and they've like, okay, we can start going back to normal. But now they're starting to get, like the UK's locked down again, and I think Italy is also going through the same. A lot of countries are they've gotten over it and now it's back. So we're going back into lockdown. Over here in the US, we really haven't had that leveling off.
Never went down.
Yeah, we never really went down. So we're still technically in the first wave. And, we've cracked more than 100,000 cases in a day, several days in a row.
Consecutively,
recently. Yeah. Like that one day that we went over 100,000, then we topped it the next like 2 or 3 days. So it's like we can't, America, we got to do a big, wear a fucking mask. Like, that's actually what my note says. The first bullet point under pandemic is wear a fucking mask. It's not difficult.
It's really not.
It's really not. And I think I saw a thing, the stat from the World Health Organization, it said, like 90% of coronavirus cases could be cut down or eliminated if I think 90% of people wore masks. Like it was something, a correlation along those lines.
The way that I look at it is if a surgeon can crack open your chest, cut out your heart, put it on a plate, and then put in a new heart, all while wearing a mask, I think I can do that to go get my groceries at Kroger.
Yeah, while you're, you can wear it for 30 minutes while you're going out. I've worn them longer for different things,
Yeah.
for a few hours at a time, and it's not great, but
I've done yard work in a mask.
yeah,
It's not comfortable, but it's not like torture or
exactly.
anything
And
like that.
I like your analogy there because I do think I'm like, wow, it's bothering. It's kind of rubbing my ears. It's pinching my nose a little bit, but at least I'm not a healthcare worker who is having to wear it all day, every day for 12, 14, 16, 18 hours a day.
Yeah.
So anyway, just wear it. It's not difficult. If Michael and I can do it, anybody can do it.
It's true, because we have giant heads.
We do have very large heads, which I think that's why we're compadres. What do you think the winter's going to be like? Because I keep hearing winter's going to be really rough as far as pandemic and coronavirus cases.
I don't know. I think people are already, so Thanksgiving has become an issue with people. The general advice is not to travel. But
They're going to travel.
People want to hear that, so yeah, that's not going to happen. I don't know. I think people are getting a little stir crazy, and it's just going to get way worse with you not really being able to be outside without freezing your balls off.
Yeah, especially because Simon and I, my wife, we've been trying to eat out at places that you still have outdoor seating as much as possible lately because we know that's getting ready to completely go away.
Yeah.
We're not going to want to be sitting out there. Luckily we've had some nice days in November. Today's one actually. That we can still do that, but we know that's not long for this season. So it's going to be rough. And I think a lot of people are quote staging protests by having Thanksgiving, and I'm like, man, it's
Well, how do you feel about the space heaters that they put out there to keep you guys warm when you're eating outdoors?
I think if you're close enough to them, or if it's a like kind of a tinted area, they're not bad. Just an open patio and you're not that close to it.
I've never understood the tent. Like, isn't the whole point to be not contained?
Yeah, but like the tent, if it's open air, like the sides are open, you still got air circulating through, but then the top will hold in heat. So it's not just shooting out the sides. I mean, some of it is obviously, but yeah, the tent will kind of keep it. But yeah, as long as it's not like, if it's a closed off, like that you have to open the little flap, that's probably not doing you any good. And the last thing I want to talk about pandemic wise right now, obviously a lot of these other things deal with pandemic, but for this first one, Todd sent us that article. I don't know if you read it, about the South Dakota nurse talking about patients dying of COVID, saying that it's not real.
Yes.
They're not dying of COVID. They're dying. And I would just kind of, it's like a gut punch. It's like, how you're dying from this. This is killing you. And you're going to say, you're still just going to be steadfast in saying that it's a hoax.
I mean, you think that once you were afflicted with it, it'd be like, oh, this is something to deal with. Yeah. But
that's what I thought a lot of people would only take it seriously if someone they knew was affected, or if they themselves were affected. But anyway, so that just kind of, when he sent that article, I was like, wow, it's just mind boggling. But, however, slightly moving on, there's some vaccines on the way.
Yeah, it's true. There's 2 now?
There's 2 that are like really promising. One, I think Pfizer's is like 90. Originally they said 90% effective. Now they're saying 95% or more. That's exciting.
I'm still curious what that actually means. Like, what does effective mean?
Well, and I'm no expert, but like I know when it comes to like a flu shot, like the flu shot, a good one is like
60%.
65%.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is a good one. It's 65% effective. Well, to me, again, I'm no expert, but to me, if it's that much more effective, then it's got to be a pretty damn good vaccine.
Right.
And we've got another one as well. I forget who the other one is, but like,
I think Moderna or something like that.
I think that sounds about right. But they're all seeking like emergency. I forget what the classification is, but like emergency. Yeah, like they're trying to get it classified as an emergency vaccine, which I think is pretty smart. So anyway, that's pretty cool. I'm excited, and the stuff I was looking at today. We're late in November at this point. They're saying like some people are like, oh, there could be one by Christmas. There could be one by New Year's. There could like, I originally heard April, so I was thinking, wow, we're moving right on along. I guess that depends on how they get those classifications, like emergency.
And I think for like me and you, April is probably a likely time frame.
Probably. Yeah. I definitely don't want to be the first person to get it.
Well, that's the good thing, I guess, is that people have already been getting it.
Yeah. But I
through the
don't want to,
trials.
once it's like readily like available to the mass public, I'm not going to be the first one in line. I'm going to let like a few hundred other people I know get it. I'll stay locked down and be like, so what, how's it going for you guys?
No.
Hair loss, diarrhea?
Yeah, no unexplained scaly patches.
Yeah. But that's pretty cool. And a meme I actually saw, because we've had like some little glimmers of like good news in the last month. Like things have like, we're like, wow, what's happening? There's been so much shit piled on us for an entire year. One of the funny memes I saw was like, how is like 2020? You know, this is like the panic in the writers' room when they realize they've got like 3 episodes left to wrap up a year's worth of storylines. So they're trying to sort everything out now. I was like, that's pretty funny. And then the little the postscript there was, I don't know what that thing with the murder hornets was, or how they're going to wrap that one up. You know, that's next season.
Yeah, so it hasn't gone away. It's still still out there.
No, and that's that I see a lot of people were complaining about how suddenly there was something else to talk about this month, and so nobody was talking about the coronavirus. And I was like, actually, I think the media is just happy to have literally anything else to talk about right now. Because all year, that's all we've had to talk about. So the fact that there was some other distraction, which we won't get into, that seemed to take precedence in the coverage because it was, kind of unprecedented on itself. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting that, we're getting there. And hopefully, things are going to start improving. I know, obviously, once the vaccine is out, it's not just over. Yeah, it's not like we can all just go back to normal after that, but at least it's a step in the right direction. So it's hopeful.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've learned. Well, okay, I hope some people have learned, some more hygienic practices than they used to have. I don't think they have, but it's a hopeful thing, I guess.
Yeah.
I may consider wearing a mask if I'm sick, just in general.
Yeah, I think amongst certain parts of the population that will stay around, and like they're even saying, it's not just going to be back to normal once the vaccine is readily available. So we don't know what's going to happen.
Don't go coughing in somebody else's mouth.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we can't go back to raves and whatever kind of wild orgies that you're into. But anyway, so the next thing, obviously another pandemic fallout, is there's been a lot of talk about the housing market in our group chat this month. And me personally, I am not looking to sell. I know a few of you others are, and apparently it is brutal out there.
Yes, it is insane. So my wife and I happen to be looking to upgrade our square footage. We're a little thin in that area right now.
It's crazy how quickly you outgrow a house.
Yeah, it really is. And it's just the two of us, but still, it's like we would love to have a yard, and just some private space to do things, like hang out or whatever. But it appears to be, we've put offers in on a couple of places now, and they've sold for the low selling point was $24,000 over the asking price. So it's hard. The price range that we're in is super competitive as well, just because of different dynamics. That's kind of the first time home buyer price range for people that have dual incomes and stuff. It's all relatively boring information, but yeah, it's crazy. And then these houses are sent, like they'll go on the market on a Friday and they will have multiple offers Sunday night.
Yeah. That's what happened when we sold she sold her townhouse a few years ago before we moved in here. We had an offer within 24 hours.
Yeah, it almost made you guys homeless.
Pretty much. They wanted it quickly, and we did not have a contingency on, basically our house was up for sale, and there was no contingency on us having a new house. So we had to do it quickly. I would not recommend.
No.
Selling and closing on both properties on the same day that you move into your new house. You move out of your old house into your new house, and you close on both the same day. I would not recommend that.
Our agent suggested us to do that for a house that's a little bit more towards the top of our price range. but I don't know if that's something we're super comfortable with.
It was simultaneously one of the least stressful moves, but at the same time the most stressful move because we hired movers for this one.
I was gonna say your tip of movers has stuck with me.
That was fantastic. It was still stressful because I mean it's like you have to stay out of the way and you have to kind of direct traffic, but I don't know, just physically. Oh, we've got someone's breaking in. Just physically, you're not killing yourself. However, I think the mental part of it is probably going to even out just the same because I was dead tired. That I was just done with everything, and that was my birthday too. It was.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was the worst birthday I've ever had. So I'm really hoping this year's just, even if we don't do anything, it's going to be better.
Well, what about that year on your birthday that I jumped on your tailgate?
That was also the year my grandmother died on my birthday.
So that was up there.
That was a bad one. However, doing all that stuff with the house the same day, that was bad. So I would not recommend it. So while the housing market is brutal, if that's what somebody's recommendation is for you to get in a house really quickly, you might want to reconsider.
Yeah, I agree. It's just and the problem is that we put in relatively reasonable offers and people just come in and totally blow it out of the ballpark. Yeah. Like no inspection, nothing kind of there to catch them if they buy a house and the roof is broken.
That's bad. Yeah, got to get that inspection.
There's people are willing to do it. I guess they're just they're stir crazy, but
yeah,
it's tough out there.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of your disqualifiers for houses have to deal with what kind of internet service you can get.
Yes.
Which is not true because where you live, you got plenty of options. But for another friend of ours, the internet speed is a big deal as far as what houses are available.
Yeah. Well, when you got, where I live, I can choose from like 6 providers and he has 2.
Yeah. And we
one of those being satellite internet.
We have 1 and it sucks. And I think there's another. Supposedly Comcast is here now, but I haven't looked into it yet. But yeah, like they could pretty much charge you whatever they want, and they don't care if the service is good. They're like, "Oh, well, we got you. Where else are you gonna go?"
Right. Exactly. Yeah, it's a literal monopoly.
Yeah. Also, lawnmowers. We talked a lot about lawnmowers this month.
We did.
It looked like Todd was gonna have a huge yard to mow. Unfortunately, they did not get that house. But
what's that? 2 acres worth?
It was a lot of yard. He was basically gonna be spending all his time mowing. And so we got to talk a lot about lawnmowers. We learned about Cub Cadets.
Yes.
Which are very well run. They have a great reputation. Husqvarna, I believe, is in there.
Husqvarna was in there, yeah. And then we talked about the different motors. So don't buy a Briggs and Stratton.
Yes, apparently that's bad.
But yeah.
I got a Troy build myself. But it's a push, so I know they're talking ride mowers because if I had a yard that big, I'd be riding as well.
Yeah, I think so. 2 acres worth probably. I think we should. There was a suggestion to get one of those 0-turn mowers, and I used one of those for a summer job one time. I had a blast. Yeah, because they go about 45 miles an hour.
I see the guys that like the lawn care services around here that just and they're going. So it looked like a lot of fun, but I'd be afraid I'd kill myself.
Yeah, it's weird because you got to drive with the stick instead of a wheel.
It's like driving a bulldozer. They have sticks instead of so that's I think I've done that. Well, smaller bulldozers.
You get the hang of it pretty quick. Yeah. It's not too difficult. And then to go in a circle, you just go like this.
Yeah, exactly. So. And wait till you see. Now check out this segue into the next topic.
I'm ready.
Speaking of grass, looks like we're gonna get legal marijuana in Virginia pretty soon.
It's what we've heard. The governor's come out and said he supports it. So,
I mean, what do you think of that segue, though? We're talking about cutting grass, and now we're talking about smoking grass.
Yeah.
Whoa. I'm very excited. I've been waiting for that, since we decided we were going to record today. So that was kind of not unexpected, because I knew for some reason people that are in the know have been saying for a while that Virginia is one of the states that's going to be...
A bunch of states just approved it in the last election on a referendum vote. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's a lot of money will come from it.
A lot of money will come from it, and a lot of controversy, which I'm sure we've already seen. If you look at any comment section, of course, that's probably not a good barometer, because any comment section of anything on any website ever is just people bitching about this and that.
Yeah, comments not a fun place to go.
But especially in a somewhat southern, somewhat conservative, I guess, for the most part, for the most of the state, yeah, they're not going to be too happy about the dopers having that legal.
It's funny because that's where all the growth is going to come from.
Yeah.
Because that's where the land is.
Yeah, well, and it's going to be a boom for farming,
right?
Because somebody's got to grow it, so it might revitalize some farms that are struggling.
Yeah,
there's a lot of positives, I think.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it for bringing money to the state and bringing money to people that could use it.
Yeah,
and then helping people that it's genuinely a good use for them, like cancer patients and
definitely a lot of medical.
Yeah, for sure.
And obviously medical has been, for medical purposes, it's been, you have to have documentation and prescriptions and all that. But, it's going to be much more readily available.
It gives a lot of people that have issues with criminal charges related to that stuff a better shot, I think. More fair chances. I don't want to dive too deep in that because that's a big wormhole. But yeah, there's only a few downsides that I can think of.
Yeah, I feel like it's mostly a win all around. So we'll just see, and it's not obviously it's not a done deal, but it seems like things are moving forward there. So that's pretty cool. I think it's I'm excited.
It will be interesting to see how it plays out, how the legislature handles it. So it's interesting. I'm excited to see how it goes.
Yes, it'll be interesting, and it's something. It's another one of those little wow, this is something to look forward to. How's this going to go, and what's this going to mean, revenue wise and things. Because I think obviously other states have kind of set the tone for how it can be taxed, and what kind of, because it's been slowly working its way through the country. Obviously, if a lot of other states are looking into it, it must be going pretty well as far as revenue.
Yeah, and you got a model sitting right there for you. So
yeah, you've seen it. It's you let the others be the guinea pigs, and if it's working, well, why not here, right? But we were a tobacco state,
It's true.
That's taken a lot of hits, so may as well move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And speaking of moving on to the next thing, the next topic is things on YouTube. We celebrated a Halloween video that was released right at pretty much, it was released on, I don't remember, but it was about haunted toys.
Oh, yes.
Ride That Donkey put out a new video.
That's right, yes.
Yes, it saw very little success.
It's because it had Steve Urkel in it. He's the worst.
It was great. It was a great.
Steve Urkel's the worst.
No, Steve Urkel's great.
He ruined being a nerd for 15 years, and it took nerds that long to recover now where they are socially accepted.
He was before his time because people love Steve Urkel, and now you think about how
he was only popular when he transformed into Stefan.
No, people loved Urkel. I was a kid who I remember crying one Friday night because my sister and I were playing, and she said, "Oh, it's Steve Urkel night." So we went to the TV, and it was going off, and I cried because I had missed Steve Urkel. I was so upset.
Have you ever heard this tidbit about Family Matters? Apparently, way back in the beginning of the show, Urkel wasn't supposed to be a main character.
My wife and I rewatched Family Matters last year, I think it was, just as one of our background shows. But yeah, he didn't show up, I think, until maybe halfway through the first season, and it was just a one-off type thing.
Yeah.
But people loved the character so much that they started bringing it back, and then he ultimately became the Steve Urkel show. But it was really just about a family and their matters.
Yeah, because Steve didn't. He's not a member of the family. He's the neighbor.
He was the neighbor. Yeah, and that was. It was a throwaway character that he just kind of knocked out of the park and people loved. So yeah, he was not supposed to be, and I'm sure that was probably an issue for a lot of the cast, especially people that were the show was kind of built around, to be like, oh, this is not our show anymore. But yeah, so
it's the original Aunt Vivian on Fresh Prince.
It's really weird, yeah, because they just released that.
It's right on HBO.
Yeah, on the HBO, the reunion thing, and that's apparently addressed. I've seen a lot of articles about it. I haven't watched it yet, but yeah, it was. I think there was probably a lot of resentment there. People left the show after, you know, their contracts were up because they're like, well, it's just not the same show we signed up for. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, there's a new video from us.
Well, so it stars Teddy Ruxpin. And is Teddy Ruxpin a thing that people know about across generations? Because I have not heard of it until
I think so, because they brought him back. Like the Teddy Ruxpin that is in that video.
He looks like a demon.
Yeah. The Teddy Ruxpin that's in that video is not the original Teddy Ruxpin. He was the rebooted 2017 version of Teddy Ruxpin that someone gave to our daughter as a baby shower gift. So he was popular enough to be brought back.
Have you checked him for listening devices?
I'm sure. I mean, he connects to Bluetooth, so he can, you know, he's reporting to our Russian overlords. But, you know, I mean, what's not at this point? So yeah, Teddy Ruxpin is also a prominent character in that film, and yeah, check out the YouTube if you'd like to see that.
Yeah, you should watch it.
It was a lot of fun. I did it all by myself, which was weird.
Because of quarantine, right? Yeah.
Because of quarantine, yes. Also because, you know, I work from home, so I have an hour each day where I can kind of, you know, during lunch I'm like, well, see, so I shot it over a few days. And it was fun to do. It was fun to do something creative like that again, because I don't get to do that much anymore. But that's out there. And sticking with YouTube, Michael, you really got to do better when you're, you know, trying to get a trucker to honk their horn. You got to hang out the window.
I was just thinking about this. Somebody saw Honk Your Horn, which we shot in like 2013. No, it was before that, because Todd was not married yet, right?
It might have been 2012. Because it was like, I think we shot that on the way back from like their wedding shower. So they hadn't gotten married yet. So I can't remember. It was 2012 or 2013. I can't remember which they got married. But yeah.
Somebody commented on our video that is almost 8 years old. And they said, you got to hang out the window or nothing to get him to honk.
Yeah.
Little do they know, we already tried that. Corey stuck his head out of the window and literally leaned in front of a truck like this. And it was not successful. And the one moment that we were successful, we literally had like 3 shreds of battery power left in the camera.
You just get really defensive. You just need to do better when you're trying to get the horn to honk.
Well, look, I want to see a video of that guy getting the horn to honk. So whatever his name was, I challenge you. Film yourself doing the honk thing to a truck on the highway and send it to me.
I believe the comment said, no matter what the weather, you hang out the window. So yeah, he should definitely, whoever this person is that made that comment that really upset you, there's a challenge laid out. So yeah, you send us a video of you doing it better.
Yeah, and if you get retweeted by GoPro, I will congratulate you on the next podcast.
Because that was the big claim to fame for that video, was that I tagged GoPro in it when I sent the tweet out, and they retweeted it.
Like 3 months later, for some reason.
It wasn't immediate, but they retweeted it later, and it got a few thousand hits right after that. So it was one of our popular videos. I know a few thousand for other people is not much.
Speaking of GoPro, have you ever seen this video? So there's this skydiver that has a GoPro, and it falls off before he jumps out of the plane, and this pig starts eating it.
Yeah, I have seen, because it's like you can't see anything, and then it lands. And it's all quiet, and a pig comes over, and he's like, something fell out of the sky, I guess I'm going to eat that.
Yeah, if you have vertigo, don't watch that video, because it literally is just...
That part goes on way too long. They could have sped that up.
Well, it's like 18,000 feet.
Yeah, well, but still, I mean, you could have cut that, because it's the same thing. You know, you could have shrunk it down.
GoPro, if you're listening to this podcast, cut that part of the video out.
This has nothing to do with it. I guess you can find it on YouTube. Have you seen the video of the monkey that steals the baby?
I've heard about this, but I have not seen the video yet.
It's like riding a bike.
Yes. Oh, yes. I saw that on Reddit, I think.
I had not heard about it. I was listening to the Scrubs Rewatch podcast, and they go off on it. I was like, what? And I'm in my car, you know, so as soon as I get home, I'm like, monkey stealing my baby. And it does.
Drags you down the street.
It just jumps off and starts dragging that baby away. And then somebody's like, stop stealing that baby. And the monkey's like, all right. It's nuts.
It really is. It's some other country. I think Thailand.
I think it's Indonesia.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what the video says.
If you're ever around monkeys, don't let your baby near them.
No, don't trust monkeys.
I don't trust monkeys.
I know you don't.
They're sus. Monkeys are sus.
That's going to come up later. So now that the YouTube shenanigans are done with, let us talk about.
Well, wait. Speaking of scrubs, there's a really good episode where they show how diseases spread. Everybody
really?
should watch that.
Okay, I don't know if I recall that one. I had to look it up.
There's an old lady who is actually recovered. She's recovered from the scrubs treating her, and this man comes in with an illness and like touches her shoulder or something like this, and that spreads the germs that ends up killing her.
I'll have to check that one out.
It's pretty interesting.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Because I thought I'd seen them all. I haven't seen all of the last season, but it's.
I think that might have been when it was.
Oh, really?
Maybe.
Yeah, we're in
Well, wait.
now.
Are you talking about the last season of Scrubs or the last season of Scrubs?
Med School?
Yes.
I'm talking about Med School.
Oh, okay. It's not in that one.
Okay. I'll have to check it out. But now on to the pressing matter of just the hatred of one of the members of group chat, LaMelo Ball.
Yes. Drafted by, unfortunately, the team that we support, the Charlotte Hornets. So Michael Jordan.
Let me ask you this question. Because I obviously don't keep up with like the draft news and things like that like Todd does. But the rumor was it was going to be Russell Westbrook that they were going to bring into the Hornets organization.
Yeah, so they were hoping that... So there was
That's
two...
a pivot right there from
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook to LaMelo Ball.
Yeah, there was two big men, so centers and forwards, that were the first two picks. And, well, I guess the first pick was a forward guard mix. But anyway.
Yeah, because it's all hybrid positions now.
They were hoping that one of those two guys would fall to them at number 3. And then they would trade for Russell Westbrook to pick up their guard play. But they didn't want to trade that third pick for Russell Westbrook. And so the trade fell apart. And here we are. So they had to pick a guard. They picked LaMelo Ball he's been playing in Lithuania.
Yeah, one of the European leagues.
Yeah. So he skipped high school to go play in Lithuania. And his dad is Lamar Ball, who is one of the worst humans walking around the earth right now. But he and his brother are now the first brothers to be top 5 draft picks in the NBA.
It's pretty impressive. I mean, it's unfortunate that their father gained so much notoriety. And
Well, his claim to fame now is that he once claimed he could beat Michael Jordan in one-on-one.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So guess who the owner of the Hornets is?
That's a good point.
The internet will want to see this video of Lamar Ball versus...
Well, what I find interesting about not only the fact that he was the draft pick, and Todd is just livid.
Well, the Hornets already have
That's
4 guards that they play regularly.
Well, the really interesting part about that now they've got this squad full of guards isn't that what happened to both of you in NBA 2K20?
Yeah, it is. The Hornet we both got drafted by the Hornets in my career on accident. Well, I guess you could pick which team you want to go to.
And you both are Hornets fans,
Yeah,
of course. Yeah, but
and so we both got drafted, and then they traded away all of the centers.
no centers. You got a squad full of guards. You got guards playing center.
And then I made my character a really good 3-point shooter, but in return for that, it degraded his jumping ability. So he was 6'7", but he could not dunk. So they would play me at the center a lot of the time because I was like the second tallest guy on the team, and it was crazy.
Well, that's what really funny to me was that it's like
It is real life.
imitating art because you both had that problem with because it was like the first season and then the second season with your my career players. They trade away all your big men.
I had forgotten about that. Yeah. That's true.
And now, furthering that, just today, Todd points out that LaMelo took his Che's number for the Hornets. So it's like this whole squad is based on your all's experiences in NBA 2K20, which I find hilarious.
It's also really strange that everybody's character is named Che, regardless of what you change the name to.
Yeah. They do refer to me as the dude in commentary, but anytime well, it's official, fans, Che is in the dunk contest, and I'm like, I'm not Che. But I am Che. We're all Che. Everybody's got a little
Everybody's
Che.
Che.
So anyway, I just thought that was fantastic. That it's really just you all have, much like the Simpsons have predicted the future.
Simpsons did it.
Many times over. It seems like your all's seasons in my career are predicting Charlotte's moves in the actual NBA.
It's possible. It's possible. And now that we have discovered the new Game Pass option, which is probably on your list,
It is.
I'll have to see if it continues in the new version of NBA 2K.
Yes. So,
oh wait, no.
Yeah.
2K won't be on there.
2K. It could be. Because we'll get there. But yeah, that's a good segue, because since we're talking about that, this month also saw a release of the new PlayStation and the new Xbox.
Giant PlayStation and giant Xbox.
Which I thought we did our show on the next Xbox, the Xbox Series S.
Yeah,
we talked about how big it was. And then I had already seen a couple side by sides, but a friend of mine sends his comparison of the two together, because obviously he can number one find them, number two who can afford to drop that kind of money. But he's got them, sends me this side by side, and the PlayStation 5 is gigantic.
It's massive.
It is absolutely huge. So, but what's even more remarkable about the size of these things is how difficult they are to find, apparently. And
I've heard that.
They are predicting that's going to last for a while.
Yeah, and I've heard apparently it's becoming like pandemic toilet paper, where people are buying several at a time and then reselling them on eBay for like that's 500% profit.
Unfortunately, that's the nature of, and retailers have got to step in on something like that, and
just make it easy. Limit one per customer.
Yeah, and especially like for pre-orders and things like that. Like there's got to be a better way to do that. But yeah, that's the price gouging is really bad. Because I just looked on eBay to see what they were going. And they're going for like $1,500. Like a $500, which that's a bit exorbitant if you ask me. For me, anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But for somebody to mark it up $1,000, and people are buying it, like, because they got it. I got to get it for so and so for Christmas, or I got to have one. It's bad. But that's and I know Microsoft has said they're trying, but I think that their work restrictions and just the demand is so much so that they're thinking they'll probably be in good supply by summer.
I had heard about the pandemic, because it started in China, where a lot of this stuff is created, caused an issue with supply.
But yeah, just different components and things. I'm sure factories getting hit with.
Yeah, and they source stuff from all over the world. Yeah. But China has a lot of stuff. Yeah. Obviously, and they were pretty out of it for a while. So
yeah. So that was a huge thing this month, and I told you guys, like, I've never bought a console on like the day it comes out, but I always, like, the day one comes out, I always feel kind of itchy, and I'm checking to see. I'm like, anybody got one? I know I'm not gonna.
I don't know. Xbox One, you were pretty close.
No, Xbox One, I didn't get until like probably almost a year after it came out. Now, I think the One X I got pretty close after it came out, but that that was just that wasn't a new console. It was just a different version, I guess. So
yeah, I'm kind of like, let them fix all the bugs first, and then we can play with it.
I gotta tell you, man, all I want to do is float a ping pong ball. That's the only reason I want one, honestly. Like, I know people were like blowing their vape smoke in it to make it like look like a. I don't know why you'd want to do that. Microsoft is like, don't do that. But the ping pong ball, and people are telling me that's a hoax. I don't know. It was pretty convincing.
I mean, the physics make sense, so
I really hope it is. Because honestly, if that's the case, whenever I do ultimately go with the Series X, I'm just going to be popping ping pong balls up there and just watching it. I probably won't even play it.
Just keep it on all the time. Yeah. It's like a lava lamp.
Like, anybody comes over, be like, hey, you want to see something? And there it goes. So yes, now Game Pass. Because we talked about Game Pass in our Xbox show.
Yeah, and I'm still a Game Pass regular console-only member. You are not.
I jumped to Ultimate just because I started seeing the incentives. And I didn't know, you had pointed out, but I guess it didn't really register, that since I had already... Xbox Live, or Xbox... I'm sorry. Let me refocus here. I'm too excited. Game Pass Ultimate includes Xbox Live Gold, which is what you need to play games online.
Yes.
And that's all it does right now, is you play games online. But since mine had renewed in like...
It also gives you like streaming stuff and other stuff like that.
Yeah, like it's just the premium, but it doesn't actually like. There's nothing that really comes along with it. It just gives you access to the online content.
Yep, exactly.
Because you can't. Yeah, I think the like just basic connection. You can't stream Netflix and things like that.
Yeah, you can only play discs.
Yeah, basically. So it was the Game Pass Ultimate includes that. So when I subscribed or when I bumped my subscription up, it's like, oh yeah, well, you know, we advance your payments since you've already paid for another year of gold. You know, I'm not paying a monthly cost to Microsoft until July of 2021.
Yeah,
and
I had seen that
because it includes the EA Play, which has the NBA Live series, which I haven't tried. I've since the original PlayStation. I had NBA like Live '97, I think. But that like all those games are on there. So you get that, you get the Game Pass games. Plus, you remember we talked about that downloadable content?
Yes.
You do get that on the console as part of it. Has like monthly perks.
Oh.
Because like right now, if I go on, it'll show me what my perks are, and I can get like a free movie rental from the store. I can get some Forza Horizon downloadable content, some like PUBG. You know, it's a handful of things, but you do get that stuff, and I think it also like for the higher tier paid content, you get like a discount in the store. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd seen people, they would go and they'd buy like 3 years of Xbox Live at a time, and then add it to their account and then sign up.
Well, ultimately, if you do that, because Xbox Live, I think is like $60 for a year. Or Xbox Live Gold. It's like $60 for a year. Game Pass is about $15. It's like $14.99 for a month. So $180 a year. So if you do it that way, ultimately you're saving a lot of money. But I think that I was already sold on the value of Game Pass just with the regular subscription.
Yeah, it's pretty handy.
Yeah, now with the EA stuff, like it kind of doubles the amount of stuff.
That's a big sell for me. I play a lot of sports games. So.
Yeah. Like I told you, I had my first Madden moment this week because of that. I blocked a punt or blocked a kick at the field goal, an attempted field goal.
I can't believe you blocked a kick. I've only done that on Madden a handful of times.
I did it twice in that game, but this one I blocked it and I ran it in for a touchdown. I was going to lose the game. There was like 4 seconds left, and I ran it in for a touchdown and won the game in my first ever Madden 20 experience. That was because it makes you play the Pro Bowl right off the bat, like before you can do anything else.
Yeah.
Like that, it like shows you like a video, and then you're playing the Pro Bowl, and you like had to pick your favorite team or whatever, so it puts you on whatever team, that division. But anyway, it's not bad. I've gotten to try a lot more games that way, and yeah, so I would recommend it, especially if you're like me and your gold had just renewed.
Mine did. I think mine did recently as well.
Yeah, so because to me that's a great value. Like I was like, oh man, I'll be spending like $5 more a month, but with the EA Play and the Game Pass, like I don't know, it's
a lot more games.
There's a lot more games now. I'm sure not all the EA games are winners.
Because EA is not just sports games; it's Battlefront.
They have other stuff. I haven't tried any of those, but I think their kind of premier franchises are, what you call it? What I was just talking about, Madden. Madden is definitely their flagship. And then they've got a few others, but like the UFC, I think was big for a while. But I didn't like the UFC style game. But anyway, and we'll wrap it up with the game that everybody's playing, and I just don't fucking get it. Among Us. Yeah,
free to play on your phone. I guess you can play it on computer.
I think it's on Steam. For like $5 or something.
Okay, yeah. So, and that's the new thing that Twitch streamers are all about it. But the general premise is that there's a fleet of, I don't know what they are. They look like jelly beans with legs.
Yeah, they're little like astronaut guys, I guess.
And you're on this spaceship, and there is one person who they call the imposter, who is among you, and he is responsible for killing all of you or sabotaging your tasks so that you can't complete them, which is the goal of the crew members. Or the ultimate goal is to figure out who the imposter is. But his goal is to kill everyone or sabotage their tasks before they complete them all, or until he's the only one left. And you can call meetings to identify who might be the imposter and eject them into space so they're killed.
And when you do that, then the game's over because
Only if you pick the
the
imposter.
crew wins. Like if
Yeah.
you get if you pick right, the crew wins. But if the imposter kills everybody,
You lose.
the imposter wins.
Yeah, or if you complete all your tasks before
Right.
the time runs out, you win.
It's a very simple game as far as like
You can play around in like 5 minutes.
yeah. It's
If you get killed, it's faster than that.
Yeah, I've only played like 2 successful games of it because mostly it's people quit or it doesn't connect or anyway. I don't fucking get it. It's all the rage. The kids are playing it. They love it. But
It's just the latest Fortnite thing. It's
not for
free,
me.
so everybody can use it. What'd you say?
It's not for me.
Yeah, I'd like it. I like to make my name like penis and fart and poop and stuff.
Because mentally you operate on the level of a 4th grader, and the 4th graders love this game. So,
They do.
and that's not an insult either. I also operate on that level. Hence why my wife is a 4th grade teacher.
See.
Because she knows how to deal with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, Among Us, it's huge. I know Todd is getting into it. Todd is sus.
Yes, he is sus. That's the slang. So when you are electing to pick the imposter, you can chat with your fellow crewmates to say, hey, Ben is he killed somebody in electrical, which is a location on the ship. But the kids don't like to type out all the words, so they just say, like, hey, I saw somebody trying to fake out, act like they were doing a task, so they're sus.
Right.
Which means suspicious.
They say so and so is sus, and it's usually like in my experience, it hasn't been the player name, it's been the color.
Yeah.
Whatever color your little astronaut is, the
Red is
spacesuit-
sus.
Yeah, red is sus because it's faster, and that can
And
mean
somebody
anything
usually
from,
responds with proof.
Yeah, right. And that ranges anywhere from maybe they're faking their task or they went somewhere and I didn't see them. Like, it's like if they do anything and they think it's
saw them on the
they're
camera.
sus. Yeah.
Because you can watch the
I
security
saw a
cameras.
vent. I saw there's all this stuff that's sus because only the imposter can go in the vents and access other rooms. So I like the premise. I don't like the implementation. I don't like playing online with a bunch of randos. That's why I said I think like for our core group, like if we all got together in our pandemic pod, and we played like with our wives, like everybody was on their phone and we're all in the same room, I think that would be a lot of fun, and I think ultimately it would end some marriages. But I think that is the appeal of it for me, is like I see the potential in doing it like in the same room locally as opposed to playing online with a bunch of people, because it's like
People are sus.
And plus, like, a lot of people are going to quit. Like I say, I feel like I've only ever made it through 2 games.
That's the thing, is that people,
Well, it's
if you're not
kids.
the imposter, they quit.
Yeah, it's kids, that's all they want. Or if they get killed, they quit. And that,
Okay, am I in the minority here? I prefer to be a crewmate. I don't want to
I've
be
never
the
been
imposter.
an imposter. I've always
Never?
never. No. Well, I haven't played it nearly as much as like you and Todd have, I think.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I've never been the imposter. I've only ever been crew, and it's just I'm like, okay, I'll do my task, and then somebody shows up behind me and they stab me in the brain and I'm dead. I've only ever died once in the 2 games. But
I enjoy the voting part, and I try to sabotage the vote often.
that's another thing. Is you can screw with people, and again the kids are gonna divert and say it's not me, and they'll anyway. There's a lot of potential there. I think I would be more into it if it was not on my phone. I don't like the touch controls.
Yeah.
Like if it was on Xbox, sure. I would probably play it more.
I think that's part of the popularity, is that just everybody can do it.
Yeah.
So it's something for everybody to do with their friends.
Yeah. So it's like I say, I think the appeal for me is with a group of people that I know in the same room, all on their phones, because they even the phone, the instructions on the mobile game kind of break it down for you. If you're in the same room, there's no talking. Like that kind of gives you rules for.
I've never noticed that before.
Yeah. Well, because I had to watch the how to play. I was like, what the fuck is this? I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, I think that would, to me, that seems like it would be a lot of fun. But yeah, I don't get it. My notes here say Among Us. Number 1, I don't get it. Number 2, Todd is sus. And number 3, what the fuck? Like that's.
It's a very, very simplistic game. Not a whole lot went into the design, I don't think.
I think yes and no. I think it's cheap to do it that way, but that's like an art style a lot of times too. Is people like that simplistic, like they don't need it to be, this big 3D open world AAA blockbuster type thing. Some people like, and these little indie games are bigger than ever because there's distribution for them now.
That's true.
And you think about like Fortnite, which I did get wrapped up in. That one I did understand, and I was terrible at it, but I played it a lot.
You were not terrible.
I was. I never won.
Well, I never won.
Yeah, but I played it a lot more than you did. I played every morning before I would go to work because I'm like, I'm going to get that, what do you call it, the winner chicken dinner. I'm going to get it. And today I'm going to be Victory Royale. And I don't know how many times I finished second. And you want to talk about infuriation. But that's not the point. It's a simple game. It's catching on. And usually I can appreciate that. Among Us, I just don't get. And like I say, maybe if it were on a console, or maybe if I played it on my computer, I would like it better. I think the mobile, I don't like the touch screen dragging my finger around and everything, because I don't like the virtual joystick either. Touch controls just aren't for me. So anyway.
It's hard to play games on your phone, I think. I don't really enjoy holding my phone this way.
Yeah, that's another thing. I think I would rather, because I always end up looking down like this, and I'm like, I don't want to, I'd rather do it like this, and that's not as comfortable. So again, I'm a console gamer. I'd rather sit and look at the TV and hold the controller in my hand.
Well, and you're old now, so it hurts.
I'm old, yeah. It makes my neck hurt. But anyway, that's all I got for this show. That's kind of the encapsulation of the month. Obviously we left some things out, but that's kind of the broad, like, those are topics we've all talked about and now revisited in Group Chat After Dark.
Yes. So this podcast is sus.
This podcast is sus AF.
Sus AF.
Sus AF.
I saw you vent earlier.
I saw you vent.
I didn't vent.
You were pretending to fix the wiring. I know that you weren't really fixing the wiring.
Well, I'm David Pumpkins. Any questions?
Sus. Michael is sus. But now he's gone. Well, that does it for another episode of Group Chat After Dark. Just as a reminder, you can find us and subscribe to us anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Audible/Amazon Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio. We're pretty much anywhere you want to listen. Make sure you give us a like and a subscribe and a rating. That would be great, because then maybe Bombas will actually hear Michael's excellent ad read and throw a little money our way. I don't know what we'll do with it. We'll put it right back in the podcast. I might just give my wife a Anyway, make sure to visit RideThatDonkeyProductions.com for all things short film and video. And also you can visit GroupChatAfterDark.com for the official website. You can find all the places I listed there, where to find us on the podcast apps. And you can also listen to every episode right there on the website. That does it for this one. So we'll see you next one on Group Chat After Dark. What? Look at it. He's over there.